three strengths. So you have to be strong there. And I see you guys got tons of tools here. Do you guys want me to skip this part? You guys want me to go over it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So when I talk about rising first, okay, rising, what rising means to me is many things. Rising is a creative strength. Okay, what that means is it adds potential to this destruction that's going to come later. Okay, when you talk about rising, you're going into a person's fingers. Okay, rising is extending your opponent. Okay, getting him farther away from his body. Rising makes you able to regrip easier because it means that they are holding onto you and you have the ability to open your hand. Okay? Rising is a technical strength. Rising only works if the other person chooses to hold on to you. Rising comes in many forms. Rising comes in a post. There's rising. Rising can come through the back of your hand when you're in a top roll, coming back out of it. Rising can be in a defensive hooked position, coming straight up. Many forms of rising, okay? But to me, rising is what sets up all good arm wrestling technique, okay? Rising allows you to use more musculature than your opponent. Because if you choose to hold on to rising, you cannot start to rise yourself. It's very hard to do. You might be able to hit out of it somehow in some funky manner, or in the straps there's an opportunity for it, but without the straps, very difficult to rise second. Okay? You must rise first. Okay, so, but it's a mega important strength. So the main normal part of rising, there's lots of different reps. I'm just going to use my belt here because it's real simple. I use martial art belt for the majority of the training that I do. Lots of wraps you can do. You can wrap it like that, right? You can wrap it like this is a good one. You want to incorporate your thumb with a lot of different ways that you rise because your thumb is a big part of rising. You can wrap it like this is rising. You can just grab it around here. You can grab it around here. And all it is the action of moving your knuckle upwards, okay? The root of it comes through the bicep, okay? Different style. I'm going to jump around a bit, guys, so at any point, if you feel like I've skipped over something or you want clarification, please stop me. When training rising, overall, when I train for arm wrestling, if I have good table time, most of the training that I'm going to do in the gym is rehabilitative. Okay? If I'm not getting sufficient table practice, then I will move into more strengthening phases in the gym of my specifics. Okay? Now, what do those different things look like? When I train for specific strength, like if I want to really tax my ability to functionally rise on the table, it's done in a negative, okay? And that's going to be for every single specific, every single training that I ever talk about. If I want to really nail my stuff, it's in a negative. So, because that is arm wrestling strength, guys, right? Like if you can hold 10, or if you can move 10, hold 13, you can budge 17. You know what I mean? That's just the way the body works. So it's the same thing in your rise. So what I'll do is, if I wanted to be real good, I'll do it right on a table. So I could set up my table, right? Get whatever one of those grips that I showed you, attach this to a pulley, right? Lock up, so that means have a tight angle, right? So my lock is already in. I'm not going to try and drive from a kind of lower position for the most part. If I'm training my top strength, I'm going to lock that thing as tight as I can, and I'm going to drive up into it. And what's going to happen is if that weight moves up a millimeter, if it moves up 1 millimeter, that is a successful lift. And that is the hardest training that I'll ever do for my rise, is a 1 rep movement. Now, If it's rehabilitative, I'm going to do lots and lots of reps, okay, with movement, because that's going to stimulate blood flow, and that's going to stimulate healing. And that can be done with anything, you know. Very simple. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take weight. Hopefully it's going to be a little bit more than this. But I might start here from real busted up, you know. I'm going to take my whatever kind of grip I want to work with that day. All right, very easy, and I'm just going to pound out reps, okay? And if I'm doing rehab, I'll do 50 to 100. 50 to 100, tack on a little bit more weight, 50 to 100, 50 to 100. And I will do that, you know, for 1,000 reps, you know, or more, depending. Like I'll be watching a movie, and I'll just pound out tons of blood into my rising component, you know. And what it's going to do is it's just going to heal. I'll kind of sidetrack to some interesting stuff that I heard about, you know, the way the body heals, etc. You know, the blood heals. Blood is what makes you healthy. Blood is what is gonna it is what is doing the magic to your body. If your blood feels good, you fed yourself, you need to bring that blood to your tissues. The thing is the tissues, the connective tissues, they got terrible blood flow. If you want to heal your connective tissue, you need high reps. You cannot do it with heavy stuff. The study I'm talking about was a study that they did with powerlifters versus marathoners and connective tissue, how much they had. Found out that the marathoners had better connective tissue, and it's reps. It's because they get that constant bathing. Anyways, when you're looking at rehab, that's a great style. So, rising. So you have to think that that is going to be something you're going to work on a lot. Next one, cupping. Right? Cupping is your ace. Cupping is the ace of arm wrestling. It is what is going to kill a guy. There's more muscle in your forearm to bend your wrist down than there is to do anything else. Your cup, really, I mean, you got your rolling thunders. You got there's different ways to set up your cup. You can cup high or low. I think you guys have probably seen that video that I've got on the internet where you can set up with a string.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I won't touch into that too much. And what does cup affect? Cup affects rotation, right? Anyways, you can be hard in all these components. I want to break into a little bit the counters and soft counters. You guys know about soft counters in arm wrestling, like the defensive hook?
We've all seen the video, but none of us understand it.
Okay. All right. So, like I was saying earlier, the most important thing about arm wrestling is to be strong, right? So, because if you are strong, then you dictate technique, okay? If you are stronger than the person in your components, that means when we come to the table, okay, come on up, Jared. If I straight up, like if you're trying to do the fundamentals of arm wrestling, high, cup, roll, right? That's initially, if you could take a person's hand like that, everything is easier. Elbow inside the body, you have all your bases covered, okay? If you have more than a person in that, okay, guess what? They have to adjust, or else they're going to lose. Major principle in arm wrestling: never fight a losing battle, okay? So that means if I'm stronger than you, okay, and we just start off with the idea that we're going to do fundamental arm wrestling, right? Both of us doing fundamental arm wrestling, okay? Both guys coming up, high, cup, shoulder inside with rotation. The guy who's stronger, the other guy has to adjust, otherwise he's losing, right? Simple concept. That guy can win still. He can totally win if he's a better arm wrestler and the strength isn't too, out of proportion. Right? And the way he's going to win is by not fighting a losing battle. Right? And the way you don't fight a losing battle is you have to give something up. The way I like to look at it is the forearm, and the hand, you can do so many different things with it. Like, and they're contradictory, right? Like if I wanted to be going full out with a rise, well then if I wanted to, be sinking, right, it's totally contradictory, right? So you have to spread your power around, unless you're, really trying to hit one way or the other, but that's counterable too. anyways, so a soft counter is you're gonna give something up in order to secure some hard spot. When I say hard spot, it's a stop, right? To stop the match somehow. And the way I like to start people to understand this process is with the defensive hook. It's probably one of the easier ones to kind of wrap your mind around. And then just this table because it's a little bit more solid. Okay, come on up, Andrew. Okay, so what we're gonna say is we come to the table, and the first time you're just gonna straight up, you're just gonna beat me. Okay, all right. Just